This video is going to be about who else? Who else but Trisha Paytas? And I just wanted to share with you that I am going to insert in here, or I already put it in front. I'm not quite sure where it's going to go. When I was getting my nails done, and then I was talking about mango tea and Shannon Rose, and I took I had to get out of the car to go get my nails done, and they hadn't opened yet. And then I started, filming again, and instead of talking about mango tea and Shannon Rose to continue what I was doing and say goodbye, right? I did a whole video. No, it's not even that long because I caught myself on Trisha. Hi everyone, I've never been this early where I'm here to get my nails done and they're not even open yet. I'm always running a little late. Yeah, what happened was last night I was watching YouTube and I guess Trisha Paytas did like some sort of story, and this was last night too. And I think it was an Instagram story, or I don't know, a Facebook story, probably Instagram story. And she was crying and she put all kinds of stuff up about Jason, like pictures of them being together, and she talked about how she can't get over it, and she was really crying. And the whole time I'm thinking, aren't you going on tour in just a few days? I mean, get it together. The thing is, okay, I'm just going to talk about myself, obviously, because I'm so different than most people, but you guys let me know. When I get sad and I cry, like if I was to cry about something that was sad or something, like I can't just switch and then be okay and be really happy like the next few minutes. Like if I was to cry, then it upsets me for like the rest of the day. I feel really upset. And so I'm not sure how she can be like crying 1 second and really upset, and then the next minute she's like dancing and making videos and she seems to be okay. I'm not sure how all that happens. You know what? I'm thinking that I don't believe that Trisha's no longer doing drugs and she's just drinking, because to her, she says that drinking is, okay with her and it's not really doing drugs, and that's why you need to go to a treatment center, because when you have an addiction, as many of you know who have addictions, you guys know you can't, once you have an addiction, you got to let go of everything. You can't replace one thing with another and think that it's okay to replace, using drugs by drinking, because it's still a substance that you're using to numb yourself. You know what I'm saying? So my hair is wet. I don't know. I keep going back and forth. I really do want to go to her show, you guys. And I think her last show, you could, what do you call it? You could videotape, but I don't know. It's not until October, so it's, not too long ago, not too far away, but still far enough away where I'm not buying any tickets or anything, because I'm still thinking of sending her an email to get me in VIP so that I can actually maybe have a little video with her and say hello and put it on my videos, and that would be cool, right? But we'll see. Maybe my hair can air dry like this. It will air dry. Oh, and then she kept saying, I hate myself. Sometimes I think, is Trisha Paytas saying these things like I hate myself and crying so that you guys can find her more relatable? Like, like when she was doing that on her stories, that's what came to my mind. Like, all of this is such a, with the mango rose and, Mikado, Trisha, all this stuff is like such BS, right? I mean, just such BS. Stop making stuff up about people. And if you yourself say you're going to be somewhere with someone, have the decency to follow up. If you can't make it, just text them. That's the bottom line. That's the lesson in all of this. And this should have been learned a long time ago. No matter what happens to you, always respect yourself enough to let other people know that you're going to be late or you're not going to come, right? And I'm not saying that that's what Shannon didn't do, because according to Shannon, she never even had that time down, and he made all that up. But with Trisha, you know, I don't know what's happening with Trisha. I don't know how much of it she's making, she's faking, she's trolling. When she was crying, I'm just letting you know, and she said, oh, you know, I hate myself and all this. I thought, wait a minute, you know what? I think she's doing this so that her viewers that are in the same mind frame as her can relate to her. That's what I was thinking. Trisha's crying and crying and crying, and that is when a light bulb went off in my head. And I just wanted to share it with you. So the light bulb was, oh, maybe that is why I watch Trisha, okay? Maybe I watch her because when I grew up, there was a lot of crying going on. Very similar to what Trisha is doing or crying. You know, because what I mean is, you know, it's screechy and loud and wailing. You know, it's just really loud crying that I grew up with. And it was my mother and my sister. They were always crying, okay? And I did cry. But when I cried, they did not cry with me. But if one of them cried, this happened several times a day, you guys. When one of them cried, the other one joined in, and then we had a parrot, Lolita. And Lolita speaks Spanish and English and whistles and, you know, mimics just about everything she heard. And, you know, for like, you could hear her for like 10 blocks away. So she would join in, okay? Along with the 7 chihuahuas that nip at your ankles, right? And Fluffy the cat and the fishes and the parakeets. I mean, I grew up in a house full of animals. And so the crying, when I went, well, now I was going to go into the animals, but I want to keep this on point here, because someone did bring to my attention that sometimes I don't finish a thought or I trail off, and I am so sorry about that, and I need to be aware of what I'm saying, but I get really happy when I'm talking to you guys. So anyways, do you think I talked to anyone else like this? No. So yeah, I grew up with crying, and the key is that when I cried, nobody would join in. Okay, so when my sister cried, my mom joined in, Lolita joined in, and that caused a lot of noise. You know, with the 5, well, there was 7. There was 5, and then there was 7, you know, because they die and stuff. But the chihuahuas, like 7 chihuahuas that were very yappity, and then Lolita. And they would have like a choir going on of crying. This is how I grew up. But then when I cried, no one joined in. So I didn't cry for very long, because there was no, how can I explain to you? There was no benefit for me crying, because no one, you know, I was alone. You know, no one really liked me at home, you know. Maybe Blackie, I had a dog named Blackie, a little black chihuahua, and I have a dog now named Blackie, but the first one was Blackie number 1, and this one's Blackie number 2. So anyways, you guys, that is the reason why I think I watched Trisha Paytas, is because back in my subconscious, there was a familiarity? Oh, I can't say that word. There. Something, a recognition there. I didn't know what it was, but now I know that when she's crying, I recognize that at some level. Now, when she's eating, like she was just eating all that pasta thing just recently. I can't watch that because I just can't watch that. I've never have. Ever since I was little, I don't like eating anything. Like eating shows is what I mean. Like, people like throwing food at each other or anything that has to do with food. I just like don't like that. So I don't know. I just think it's just like disgusting. And when I, see Trisha with a bunch of pasta, right? I don't think, like, my mind doesn't think, oh, there she goes eating this whole thing. How much is she going to eat? Or I don't think how much can she put in her mouth. Like the people who enjoy these videos, I don't know what you guys are thinking in your head, what your thoughts are while you're watching her, that you enjoy these videos, these mukbangs. I don't know. This is very foreign and strange to me. It's very strange. What I see when she's eating a bunch of pasta, I just see self-sabotage. That's what I see. I just see her hurting herself. And when I watch her hurt, or anyone, who hurts themselves, what was it? It was someone that I knew, a friend of mine. I don't know if they were, I know what it was. And I know who it was. It was this guy. And we were roommates and we were really close. And this ex-roommate of mine, he, used to do drugs, and I think it was cocaine. I think it was cocaine. And when he snorted cocaine and, he would get really like, like jazzed out, and the more he got like that, the more he snorted, or it's like seeing someone who's really drunk or really tipsy, like if you know anyone, or if it's yourself, like if you see yourself or someone, or you see someone drinking, right, alcohol, and they get really tipsy, and you notice they just want to drink more and more and more. That little thing right there, to me, I know some people have a problem, and like an addiction, I guess, but I think that's a little different than an addiction. This is like suicidal. Like, this is like, why would you do that to yourself? And I just can't see another human being treat themselves that way. So when, like Trisha says, and she just said it too a couple of videos ago, she said, I hate myself. I was like, oh my God, some of the things that she says, like sometimes I watch her and I'm like, I've never ever known anyone like this in my whole life. So anyways, I was just thinking, why do I watch her so much? And I got that, what do you call it? Light bulb moment. I got that light bulb moment. Oh, okay. It's because when I grew up with a lot of crying. I grew up with a lot of noise. I don't have that right now in my life. I don't have any crying. So let me know what your thoughts are. And I love that you guys are commenting. I love answering your comments below. I love you too. And I'll see you on my next one.